Well, today's shake was kind of a fail. I tried some of the sugar-free chai mix that I have, and so I did basically half of the chai mix, half almond milk. I added what was left of my spinach, which really wasn't a lot, and then some of the vanilla protein powder, thinking it would be kind of like a vanilla chai. It's not very good. It's good enough to drink. I mean, I would drink it anyway. I don't want to waste it, but it's not very good. So I am bored with my food choices today. I don't feel that way very often, but I'm going to have to seriously change how I do things for lunch. I keep not prepping lunch the day before and then not really having time in the morning to do anything. And so I just have been grabbing the frozen soup from my freezer and running out the door. I grabbed my last one this morning. So not only am I not looking forward to eating the soup for like the 4th day in a row, I won't be able to even have that as an option if I don't prepare something. I think maybe I'll throw something in my crock pot when I get home so that it's something that I can eat off of for a while. But today is a pretty disappointing food day. My breakfast smoothie that just sort of missed the mark and it didn't taste all that great. And then I'm gonna have the soup, which it does taste good, don't get me wrong. It's something that I have always had trouble with. I can't just eat the same thing over and over. So I'm definitely feeling it today. I'm just feeling kind of bored of the process. This last weekend was the first time that I really felt that the diet was inconvenient. And now this is pretty much the first time that I'm feeling like I am so, what are you focusing on? What's the problem? This is the first time that I'm really feeling like I'm just bored of it. I'm going to have to come up with something else. I'm going to have to food prep. I hate food prepping. I really, really hate it. I can't explain to you why. I don't know if it's because I'm lazy or what, but food prepping is just like the bane of my existence. So I will try to remember to put something in the crock pot tonight since I keep forgetting to do it before I leave the house. That way I'll have something that I can eat off of during the week. I remembered that I brought eggs and I'm going to eat eggs for lunch instead of soup. I can't even begin to tell you how absolutely tired of peeing I am. I'm so tired of having to go to the bathroom all the time. That's not even really part of the pre-op diet. That's a thing that I guess I should have been doing the whole time forever. I have never had to pee this much in my life, and I'm so tired of getting up twice in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom. Okay, I'm done. Just came home and decided I couldn't be bothered with prepping any dinner. So what's left of the ramenless ramen, I just threw in the microwave. I have 2 of the eggs left and there's no noodles, none of the shirataki noodles in here. None of the toppings or anything. It's just basically chicken soup and eggs. But I am starving and I don't have time and I just can't be bothered. To put together some sort of lunch today. So I am trying desperately to use up some of the things in the fridge that I don't want to go to waste. So I have some leftover taco meat. It's about a week old now. I tasted it. It's fine. But this is probably the last day that I will willingly eat it. Otherwise, I'm not going to eat it. And then this, oh my goodness. Some of these are really sad. So this salad mix really needs to get eaten. This avocado looked a lot better this morning, but of course I cut it to check it and salted it before I put it in the container. So it looks pretty sad too. I have some cut up tomatoes and olives to go on it. And then I put some of that chipotle bitchin' sauce on the side. So that's what I'm going to use for dressing. And I think it's going to be really good. I think you deserve a picture of what it looks like all put together. Isn't that lovely? Keeping it simple tonight. I had a late night in the office and had to come home and still make dinner. So I threw several chicken breasts into the oven and microwaved some broccoli. Honestly, it looks amazing. I'm just So grateful to be eating this right now. I've done everything but the bagel seasoning mix on the chicken and then just put a little bit of, I can't believe it's not butter, spray on the vegetables. Easy peasy, simple, just down to the basics today. This is a really good example of what my day is like today. I managed to grab food on the way out the door. I even took my Brussels sprouts and I microwaved them this morning because I didn't have a freezer that I was going to have access to, and they were just going to thaw and get weird. So I was on top of stuff today and I forgot any sort of plate or utensil or anything. I have plastic silverware that I keep in the office that I can use, but I guess I'm just gonna eat out of the bag. I don't know. So I have a chicken breast that I made last night. I made extra for dinner so I could take some with me. So chicken breast, seasoned, Brussels sprouts, and then I brought a little bit of the bitchin' sauce because why not? And I want to try them with Brussels sprouts. Excuse me? Day, can you stop? Can we start over? So I wasn't going to record anything about it. I made this observation yesterday and today, and I decided that I should probably include it just in case. I'm feeling extra emotional. I have no real explanation for it, so could be related to weight loss. I know that happens with this process, so I figured I would just put it out there that that's something that I'm going through. The last 2 days, I found myself over emotional, not to the point of being like hysterical or having a problem, but like feeling things on a deeper level than I normally do. And I started being flooded with all these like the weight of the world was on my shoulders all of a sudden, and it was just like all of the bad things that are happening were just like magnified all of a sudden. And I was like, why do I feel like this? And then today I noticed this has happened a couple of times. This actually happened a few days ago as well, but I've been thinking about my dad who passed away in April. Not so much that I'm thinking about my dad as much as I'm thinking about my extended family, which is a very complicated mess, and everything as expected was a complicated mess after his death. But where I had come to a level of sort of peace and just letting certain things go and just being okay with being in the now, I have now come back in the last couple of days to being angry and just feeling like these thoughts are popping into my head, and I just feel more emotional than I have before. Not ever before, but than I have recently. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's related, but it probably is. Did not know what to eat tonight. I had no plans. I was 100% thinking I would just drink more water and go to bed. I made tofu, and I whipped up a little bit of a peanut sauce to go with it, and I really felt like cucumbers. So put that on a bed of some shredded cabbage just for some extra veggies. I am cheating. I'm only supposed to have about 7 ounces of protein per meal, and this is 11, and I don't care. I'm eating all this tofu. Look, I made a chia seed pudding. It's something other than Jell-O tonight. Okay, it's acceptable. I think I put a little bit too much vanilla in it, so it kind of has that like almost bitter taste because vanilla extract gets weird, but it's good. Crisis averted. So I got a sudden craving for a hamburger. And so while we were at the store this afternoon, I picked up stuff to make lettuce wrap burgers. I do have cheese on this. This is vegan Daya cheese, the American version, I guess. Technically, there was a webinar about the pre-op diet, and the nutritionist did say that vegan cheese was okay. It is starchy, I looked at the ingredients, so I'm not really sure why it's okay. I'm not gonna buy a second package. I will go through this package slowly, probably, but it'll just be a sometimes food. So this is just I made two because I've done it yet again. I've barely eaten today. I've had two shakes and some water. so so I made two burgers, lots of veggies, a little bit of avocado, and I'm this is just dinner tonight. This is what I'm doing. This looks really good. This is probably as close to like eating something I've been craving that I've gotten recently. So I'm excited, and I did nibble on this vegan cheese, and it's not bad. It tastes pretty good. I was impressed. Tastes cheesy. Who would have thunk it? So I knew that Halloween was going to be a little bit tricky. My sister, several months ago, before I even decided to do the surgery, had said she wanted to plan a Halloween party. Now, when I say party, I really don't mean a lot because of everything that's going on. So it was just me, my boyfriend, her, and her friend and roommate. So there's just four of us, and we're pretty much the only four that interact with each other going on with all of the pandemic stuff. So it was a party, but she really wanted to plan something. And so I said, hey, you can have it at my house. It's a little bit of a bigger space and we can all do it together and have some sort of thing to look forward to. So she was planning on putting together a bunch of fun foods and different things. And then I decided partway through her planning that I was going to go for surgery, and we realized my pre-op would happen right in the middle of that. She was really kind and decided to kind of change up some of the menu so that there were things that I could eat. I really didn't think it was going to be too big of a problem. I mean, my boyfriend isn't doing the strict pre-op with me. I mean, he'll eat what I make, but usually he'll supplement with some things that I can't have. So it's not like I'm not used to there being things in the house I can't eat. So I figured it wouldn't be too big of a deal. And in all honesty, Halloween really wasn't that big of a deal. There were a couple times when, man, I really, really wanted to have a candy bar that they were all eating, or I wanted to eat the fun treats that she had made that were full of sugar and chocolate and things that I just am not allowed to have. And so yeah, there were a couple of moments that I was kind of bummed out that I couldn't partake. But I ate hummus and veggies, and we smoked some chicken drumsticks, and I made myself a couple of little things that I could eat, and she made me a big thing of sugar-free Jell-O that I just kind of snacked on throughout the night. So it was something that was doable. I did have a moment, though, where I thought, do I want to go through with the surgery? What I was experiencing was what my future is going to be like. Is it possible I'll be able to have, one or two snack-sized candy bars in the future and mainly have veggies and protein? I mean, yes, who knows? Times when I'm used to being on a diet and you have moments when you are not as strict on your diet because it's a holiday or it's a get together, and you have that balance and that moderation, that's kind of going to go out the window after surgery. What I experienced last night is that I really didn't eat as much food as I thought I was going to, or that I normally would have eaten. I really didn't eat that much food at all. And that will be the norm. In fact, in the future, I won't be able to eat even as much as I ate last night. And there was something about that. There was something about being at a get together that is meant for snacking and having fun and not really being able to partake in much of the snacking. We don't think about how important food and food events are, I think, until we go through a situation where it's taken away. Not just as a coping mechanism, because that's something that I'm going to have to get used to as well. And I'm seriously going to have to deal with a reality in the future where I can't use food as a coping mechanism. But just as a celebration or food as an excuse to get together. We do that as people a lot. And although I can say, oh yeah, no, it's no problem. I'll have hummus and I'll have chicken and it'll be fine. There is something about not being able to participate that sucks. That's something that I have to be okay with, potentially, very likely, being my future. You know, when I would be on a diet, when I would be active with Weight Watchers, I would have moderation. I would calorie count, or I would use the point system, and I would make sure that if I ate chocolate or something that wasn't really that nutritious and great for me, I would balance it out with 0 point foods or things that were healthy for me. I learned a lot about moderation and how to eat properly on Weight Watchers. It doesn't solve the problem. And although I can have really good willpower and I can do this stuff now, as a long-term solution, it's not sustainable. And I'll tell you right now, it's not sustainable. I wouldn't be able to eat like this for the rest of my life without some sort of assistance, which is where the surgery comes in. Will moderation and eating things that aren't as good for me come back into my life at some point? Absolutely. I will be able to eat certain things again, but I'll have to learn what my stomach likes. I'll have to learn what sits well with me. My tastes will probably change. Things will change, and it will be a long time until things are steady enough that I will be able to partake in something like that again. And I have to be okay with this not just being an 8-week pre-op diet. All of the stuff that's happening to me now, all of the stuff that I wish I could eat and everything, is going to keep going after surgery. I'll have a liquid diet, and then a thick liquid diet, and then a puree diet, and I'll be working my way up to solid foods, and still by then I probably won't be eating some of the things that I really have been missing now. So although I look at this as, 8 weeks, so it's only 8 weeks, it's really not. And then the reprogramming starts, and it's gonna be work. But all I could think about when I was wondering, do I really want to go through with the surgery? Do I really want to go through that? Is all of the amazing things that I've seen and read online about people who say they've never regretted it. I thought about how it might be moderately uncomfortable for several months, but ultimately this is a tool that's going to help me get my life back. And in some ways, get a life that I never had to begin with. I've been heavy my whole life. I don't really know what it's like to not be overweight. And I don't want to bow out now because I'm afraid of a little work. So I'm in it. And I have my Halloween party to kind of thank for that, because it solidified that, yes, I'm doing the right thing for me. It was something that after a lot of thought and staring at empty Twix and 100 g bar wrappers, I was still able to say, you know what? I'm going to go through with this. For lunch, I had 2 leftover drumsticks from Halloween, and I dipped them in a little bit of that Chipotle bitchin' sauce, and that's good stuff. I also ate 2 tablespoons of peanut butter straight from the jar. Then for dinner, I tried to keep it a little simple since we were pretty heavy on some fats and carbs on Halloween. So I just had a chicken breast, a salad, and some asparagus. The salad, I used the sugar-free raspberry vinaigrette, and that is pretty good stuff too. So far, I'm pretty satisfied with those sugar-free vinaigrettes. They've been really yummy. Today, I had to eat lunch a little bit early. I was all over the place with the meetings and had to drive to different appointments, so I grabbed lunch as soon as I could. The plan was to eat the entire bag of green beans and the 2 pieces of chicken, and then try to save the hummus and vegetables for a snack in between meetings so that I wasn't too hungry. I ended up not really being hungry for the hummus later. You can probably hear my tofu frying in the background. But before I cover this in tofu, I wanted to at least show what I'm putting underneath it. I've cut up some of the remainder stuff in my fridge. I just had no idea what to eat tonight, and the only thing that I could think of on the way home was that tofu sounded good. So what I'm doing is cutting up the remainder of my romaine, put some carrots and cucumbers in there, and then I used some of this deep roasted sesame dressing that we got a little while ago. It's not terrible. It has some fat and a few carbs, There's only 3 added grams of sugar, so I'm not super worried about it. It's mainly fat. I just wanted to give this a try. I don't know, it sounded good. So I'm going to top this with some tofu that I'm frying in a little bit of coconut oil and just calling it good for the night. And here it is completed.